A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant legal development, the U.S. Supreme Court has opted not to review a challenge to the race-neutral admissions criteria employed by 3 prestigious Boston high schools. This decision comes in the wake of ongoing debates surrounding educational equity and the implications of the court's prior rulings on affirmative action. The case centered around Boston Latin School, Boston Latin Academy, and the John D. O'Brien School of Mathematics and Science, which have been under scrutiny for their admissions processes aimed at enhancing racial and economic diversity. Justice Neil Gorsuch noted that the schools have since modified their admissions policies, which he argued lessen the necessity for the court's review. However, dissenting opinions from Justices Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas highlighted concerns about the implications of the decision, suggesting it could embolden further race-based policies that target specific racial groups. The challenge emerged following the Supreme Court's June 2023 ruling that struck down affirmative action in higher education, prohibiting the consideration of race in admissions decisions. As educational institutions across the nation grapple with how to maintain diversity without violating this ruling, many are exploring alternative criteria, such as socioeconomic status and geographic location, to facilitate equitable admissions. In Boston, the admissions process for the so-called exam schools previously relied on a combination of standardized test scores and GPAs. However, the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted this traditional process, prompting a temporary shift in admissions criteria, which allocated 20% of seats based on GPA and the remaining based on the highest GPAs from each zip code. This change resulted in a notable increase in the percentage of economically disadvantaged students admitted to these schools, rising from the previous year. Court filings revealed that the demographic breakdown of admitted students under the revised criteria included 31% white, 23% black, 23% Hispanic, and 18% Asian. This represented a shift from the prior admissions plan, which had a higher percentage of white and Asian students. The Boston Parent Coalition for Academic Excellence, representing a group of white and Asian families, filed a lawsuit against the Boston School Committee, arguing that the revised admissions criteria discriminated against their children. They claimed that the policy was intentionally designed to reduce the number of Asian American and white students admitted to the schools. However, the federal district court upheld the school system's decision, asserting that the changes were constitutional and race-neutral. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the First Circuit echoed this sentiment, ruling that the Boston School Committee's use of neutral selection criteria to enhance racial diversity was permissible under the Supreme Court's guidelines. The coalition's appeal to the Supreme Court was framed as an effort to prevent what they perceived as government-sanctioned discrimination against specific racial groups. They contended that the court's refusal to hear the case would set a dangerous precedent, allowing public bodies to target disfavored racial groups without consequence. In contrast, the Boston School Committee argued that the controversy surrounding the temporary admissions criteria had dissipated since the policy was only in effect for 1 year, and had been replaced with a new plan that considers grades, census tracts, and standardized test performance. The committee's legal representatives emphasized that the temporary admissions plan was established in response to the pandemic and was developed prior to the Supreme Court's affirmative action ruling. Alito's dissenting opinion underscored the potential ramifications of the court's decision not to intervene, suggesting that it could perpetuate race-based affirmative action practices that contradict recent rulings. The Supreme Court has faced similar challenges regarding admissions policies at other prestigious institutions, including a high school in Virginia and the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. In February, the court declined to review the admissions criteria at Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology, while also allowing West Point to continue considering race in its admissions process as legal battles unfold. The ongoing discourse surrounding admissions policies reflects broader societal tensions regarding race, equity, and the future of educational access in America. As schools navigate these complex issues, the implications of the Supreme Court's decisions will undoubtedly shape the landscape of public education for years to come. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.